Hey guys, welcome back to Chakra Healings. I'm really excited to be here, really excited and grateful for all my supporters. I have a special guest on the episode, a very close friend of mine for many, many years. This is Chloe. Um, we're both Libras, we're both work in the mental health field. She's almost finished up school to be a therapist, and I'm in the process of being a mental health therapist. So we have a lot of similarities, and we like helping people. So she was the perfect person to bring on this episode, and you'll see her on many more. Um, so first, we'll start off as always reading from one of my favorite books, Thriving as an Empath. We'll read the message for today, and then we'll get into the topic. And today's topic we really thought would be important to talk about is
the effects of childhood trauma on physical health.
Exactly, very important, because so many things stem from childhood, and so many, a lot of times people don't even realize in life when they're depressed or going through something, they don't even realize it's from that childhood trauma that
and the mental health effects are studied, but people don't often pay attention to the physical health outcomes.
Exactly. So we're gonna dive into that and talk about that. So let's read our message for today. So what's today's date? September 9th?
September 7th?
Oh shit, why did I think it was the 9th?
Yeah, it's the 7th.
Okay, cool. Sorry. 2 days ahead. Wow. Alright. August went too quick. I'm still oh my god, it's September.
I know, the whole summer went so quick.
Yeah. It's fall already. Alright, September 7th. So the title is Pick Your Battles. As a sensitive person, you may react strongly to behavior that upsets you. Letting something pass can be difficult because the uneasy feelings remain in your body. However, the wisdom of self-care includes consciously prioritizing which situations warrant asserting yourself and which don't. Choose your battles carefully. Ask yourself, is it worth getting into this with my spouse or coworker? What will I gain or lose? In intimate relationships, potentially triggering issues can arise daily. Ask yourself, what is the most important to address? Where will I make the greatest headway? You might find it useful to journal about the conflict. Also, you'll communicate more effectively by limiting yourself to one problem at a time and not pulling on other complaints in the same interaction. Start with a lesser issue and work up to a larger one at a later date. Avoid overwhelming others with a laundry list of needs and assert yourself firmly, but with kindness. So set your intention. I will pick my battles, and I will realize that I can't solve everything at once. I will not overwhelm people with too much information by raising multiple issues in the same conversation. So wow, that's really important, because I used to do that so much. It put way too much on my plate, and now it's I talked about that in the last episode, having a routine, having a schedule, one thing at a time, one day at a time. I have that board over there, write down tackle one or two things every day throughout the week, and then eventually by the end of the week you'll have everything done. It's the best way to do it.
Awesome.
Yeah, that was a cool message. So let's get into it. Childhood trauma and how it affects the physical body and mental health.
Yeah. So I guess I want to talk about starting with a study that was done in the mid-90s, I think 1995.
Okay.
And it's called the ACE study. So ACE stands for Adverse Childhood Experiences, and it's basically a list of 10 common interpersonal traumas. So physical, sexual, emotional abuse, physical, emotional neglect, parental separation, death, domestic violence, and then having a parent who has mental health issues or substance abuse issues, and then having a parent who went to jail or prison. So all of those have a lot of impact on kids growing up. So they
genetics.
Yes. Yeah. So they have a test. So they had about 17,000 adults take this test about how many of these traumas that they experienced, and they would get a score from 1 to 10 based on one ACE, no ACEs, 10 is everything.
Yeah.
And they did a study. They studied these adults for a couple years. It was was a longitudinal study.
Oh wow. That's a long time.
And they measured the health outcomes, and what they found was that people with more than 4 ACEs were more likely to have like cancer, autoimmune diseases. They measured
wow.
a 19-year difference in life expectancy.
Oh my gosh, that's
Yeah.
a long time. Big
And
difference.
there was
Wow.
a TED Talk about this that she explained it really well. It was basically like, yes, there are other things, like, of course, if you go through a lot of trauma as a child, you're more likely to have mental health issues as an adult. You're more likely to not have healthy habits, not exercise, not eat healthy. You're more likely to, like, do drugs, alcohol, and, suicide risk is higher. But what this doctor said was that even if you live the healthiest lifestyle, if you have that much trauma as a child, you still have more negative outcomes.
Yeah.
And
Makes
basically
sense.
what happens is cortisol, which is a chemical that your brain releases when you go into fight or flight.
Okay. Wow.
So when you're a child and you're constantly being traumatized, and this could happen to adults as well, any kind of long-term trauma, but of course it's more impactful for children because they're still developing.
Yeah, brain's still developing and everything.
And so when you're still developing, you have these traumas, your brain is constantly going into fight or flight, it eventually gets stuck there.
Yeah.
And then,
Wow.
you
that's
grow
scary.
up. Yeah.
I've definitely been there. Know that.
Yeah, same.
And it's scary when you're in that, because when you're in it, you feel like you could never get out of it, and you feel like things can't get better. Like you feel just like it's just like a very dark feeling. Like I would always, when I experienced this at such a young age, I would always call it like the dark place.
Mm-hmm.
And I honestly think it was like also just like being such a young age, so many mental health issues, and being prescribed so many different prescription medications.
Yeah.
And it's very hard for a person to find. All our brains are wired differently, so it's very hard to find the right medication that works for you. And like for anybody that takes medication and found one, like if it works for you, good, keep it. But like we're all wired differently, and I never had any good experiences on any of these pills. That's why I'm just like, I'll deal with things the natural way, because pills were just, it never was good for me. And I feel like it definitely caused a lot of damage. And I was listening, there's this guy that I listen to, Vanessa listens to him, he's like, they call him the prophet, and he basically says like God speaks to him, and he's very like stuff, he just knows things that not other people would know, like stuff that somebody that can predict the future would know and stuff. And he said to me on the live, he was like, Kathleen, he was like, and I don't even know him, he was like, God is healing some memory issues, some brain. He was like, you were prescribed many different like medications since a young age, and it's effect like, and I was just like, wow, because I've literally said that.
Yeah.
So
And
just
absolutely.
not to get into a tangent with that, but that just like randomly popped in my brain.
No, that makes sense. And like I see a lot when I was working with kids is like they were having trouble. They were going through stuff at home, so they were acting out as a result because they were going through stuff at home, and then they were put on medication. And the medication, I'm on like psychotropic drugs myself. It can help a lot of people.
Yeah, if you need it. Some people really do, and that's totally fine.
But it's more like a Band-Aid for someone with trauma, and a lot of mental health issues stem from trauma.
And I think it's also like people getting misdiagnosed too.
Yes.
That's what can cause, because I've been diagnosed with so many different things, like, so that can cause an issue with medications too, because if you're misdiagnosed, then you're put on the wrong thing. Like, obviously that's not going to work because it's not treating like what you have,
Yeah.
And that happens a lot too, I feel like.
And that's like another topic is complex PTSD can show up as many things. It could show up as depression, bipolar, personality disorders, and all of it comes from trauma because it manifests in different ways. But as a society, like in healthcare, people tend to just treat the symptoms. So they're put on medication, the symptoms are good for a while, but it doesn't help anything like underneath. Because I've been on medication for years, and it was only until recently when I started actually like doing like breathing exercises,
meditation, all that stuff.
Yeah.
Really helps.
So I think that's why it's important to kind of get into like what goes on in our body
Yes.
when we're growing up with trauma.
Definitely.
So when we are constantly having that release of cortisol, and that's happening every day because we're stuck in this fight or flight mode. That cortisol is great if, you know, you're like in the woods and the bear's hunting you, something like that. That's the survival mechanism that's for. But like that happens every day. We get stuck in that, and then you move on. You're an adult. You're trying to live through life. Like the trauma is past you now, but you're still stuck in that fight or flight response.
Yeah, I feel like there's times where I went through like depressive episodes, and it's almost like you feel like a scared lost child.
Yes.
You don't even feel like an adult.
Yeah.
When that happens, I'm like, this is so scary.
Yeah.
Like I haven't had that happen since like maybe last year, but I'm always wondering like, is it gonna happen again? Like, cause I'll go months where I'll be good, and then a depressive attack will just happen, and I'm like, please, can this just be the 1 year where I don't have one? It's usually just like one a year, so it's not so bad, but they suck when they happen. So you feel so down.
Yeah.
For a couple of weeks and dark, and I was like, I don't ever want to get to that place again. I'm in a good place now mentally, but like I think it's also important. That's why you said like the breathing exercises, the meditation. If you can keep up with that, I feel like maybe that can be the cure for no depressive episodes. It's just staying consistent with doing that every day, so that a depressive episode can't even get you, because you're doing so many things for mental health or to help yourself. So that's my goal for this year.
Yeah.
No depressive episodes for the year.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
Yeah, absolutely. And like I go through too, a lot of it's dissociation as well, because there's 4 trauma responses: is fight, flight, freeze, and then fawn. So children oftentimes, if they're being like abused or neglected, they'll dissociate, they'll freeze, because fighting or fleeing is not an option. So they freeze, and then that's, again, you get stuck in that frozen state. And that's something that I experienced for a while, is like chronic dissociation, like feeling like you're not in your body. But that could be like a whole video in itself.
Oh, I'm sure. There's so much, like, and with everything going on in the world right now, like that's why it's important, I feel like, to have platforms like this, and that's why I'm doing this, because I just want to help people. Like with everything going on in the world, like there's a lot of people going through mental health crises right now and issues, and some people don't have health insurance. Therapy can be really expensive, and like I want this to be a platform for free where people can get advice and get help and get to listen to people that have been through traumas and different things, and maybe get some help or some hope just from listening. So I just want to announce, guys, my most recent video I posted yesterday went crazy. The views are going up. I'm totally shocked. Like I think the last time I checked, I was at like 900 views. I can't even believe it. Almost 1,000 views. So thank you guys. Thanks for the support. Thanks for anybody that shares this, because the goal of this is to just reach as many people as I can and like help people. And But anyway, sorry.
No, you're good. But yeah, I think that's why I want to talk about specifically about like physical health impacts, because that doesn't really get talked about, and the people with like trauma who experience like autoimmune disorders and like heart problems, and like it. Like I just thought this study was so significant. Like I'm surprised that it's not mentioned. Like in the 5 years I've been in the field, it hasn't been mentioned at work. But like
that's crazy.
It's because, you know, a 19-year life expectancy difference is a lot.
Yeah.
And I don't want to scare anyone. I don't want to scare anyone, make you think that because you went through all this trauma that like it's like a death sentence. It's not. It's just a statistic. And there's a lot of other things behind that.
That's why we have to work on the traumas now.
Yes.
In our adult lives, and don't let them linger. Like heal now so that you can have a higher and get healthy. Go to the gym, work out, like eat healthy, do whatever you can to have a longer life, because you can change it.
And that's the thing with like your physical health too. Is like, so the goal really is to try to lower the cortisol levels because that is what causes the health problems, because it lowers your immune system.
Okay.
And so your body isn't able to fight as well.
Okay.
So some of the ways to like lower cortisol, I know there's study about ashwagandha. I've been taking
Oh my god, we have it in the kitchen.
Yeah,
Sid buys that.
And you
Oh,
know,
good.
Yeah.
Well, and I need to start taking it more. I haven't been recently.
yeah, so that works by, and I mean the studies are, you know,
Yeah.
there's nothing definite. Like I would encourage anyone to like research anything that you're taking.
Yeah.
I'm not a doctor, but what I know is that
I've heard a lot of good things about that
Yeah,
stuff, and
so-
a lot of people.
the reason it helps
Use
with
it.
anxiety is because it lowers your cortisol levels.
That's awesome.
So that's one way that helps. Another way that's helped me specifically is like breathing, deep breathing. And I've been doing neurofeedback training, which I know isn't accessible to a lot of people, but one thing that I've learned that helps my body at least is like the long exhale.
Okay.
So breathing in for like 4 seconds, breathing out for 8 seconds.
That does, and I do that when I meditate usually. Like when I listen to like the guided meditations on YouTube, they'll like tell you like do inhale and then exhale even deeper and longer.
Yeah.
And it does help, and I do that. And I just did that Friday in my group at work, because I was running group, and it did say to do that in the video, and I did it, and I was like, this feels good.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, it does help.
So yeah, what it does is it activates your vagus nerve,
Oh.
and that's why it's so calming. But like you get yourself in that physically calming state, and you can think better. Because
Nice.
for
That's
me,
cool.
it's been this cycle of taking medication, going to therapy,
Yeah.
trying to change my mindset so much, but still being stuck. Like still feeling stuck. Like I know what to do, but I can't do it. I'm depressed. I'm in bed.
Yeah.
I know what I should be doing. I know how to cope. I'm a mental health professional, but I
Yeah.
just can't. And
Yeah.
that's what's been so significant since I've been doing neurofeedback, and I learned how to like calm my body. I can think clearer. I can make
That's
better
awesome.
decisions. I can not dissociate, just be
Yeah.
like present. And
Yeah, that's
because
awesome.
of that, I'm able to do other things. I'm able to eat healthy, exercise, because those also help
All those,
lower cortisol
yes.
levels.
That's
for
why I go to
someone-
the trainer, and I love
Yeah.
working out. Like I never feel like doing it, but once I get to it and I do it, you feel so much better after.
Yeah.
Just natural endorphins. And
I
it just
feel
feels good.
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't working out for years, and I recently started, and
Awesome.
I just feel so much better.
Yeah.
But
It
like
helps.
I said, for someone depressed and dissociating, that might seem like a lot. You know,
Yeah.
you're just like
Baby steps.
Yeah.
Start with walks. Lift
Yeah.
10-pound weights. Do low cardio impact YouTube videos. Like YouTube has so many workouts. 10-minute workouts, 20-minute. Like start yourself slow and build up. You know, do what you
Baby
can.
steps.
Just go walk outside your complex. You know, your neighborhood, a park. Get some steps in. That's what they say. If you're not going to do anything, just walk. There's people who walk miles a day and they've lost so much weight.
Yeah.
So
I mean, that's kind of like I live on the 6th floor, and so one thing I do sometimes is just take the stairs.
yeah, I've done that here.
Yeah.
I've run up and down 4 flights of stairs. I would do it like 10 times and I'm dead. 20 minutes, the workout's done, and I'm fucking sweating like a pig. And I'm like, I finished that in 20 minutes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Dude, but I haven't done it in a minute. I did it like 2 or 3 times and I was like, dude, this is a lot.
Yeah.
It gets you running up and down them steps, man.
Yes, and like building
Your heart
that
is
habit
running.
is, you know, a huge part of like mental and physical health. So yeah, like I wanted to bring this up because trauma, we often talk about trauma and mental health, and of course there's so many mental health consequences
Yeah.
associated with childhood trauma and trauma as an adult. But no one really talks about like the physical health, what it actually does to your body when you're
Yeah.
repeatedly
Oh,
traumatized.
yeah. The
And
body's affected. The body holds
Yeah.
trauma. Like that's known.
the body
A
keeps
therapist has even
score.
said that to me.
Yeah,
That there's certain times where I've had dreams or I've remembered a certain trauma and I literally felt the pain.
yeah.
Like
I've
you
had,
could feel it. Like it's
Yeah.
crazy.
I've had flashbacks, emotional
Me too.
flashbacks, where I've literally physically felt what was going on, and like that's one thing. Like I
Scary.
encourage everyone to read The Body Keeps Score
I don't know. I want to read it.
because it goes into detail so well about what it does to your body community and how that affects your mental health, because your mental health and your physical health is so tied to each other. If you're not physically well, you're not going to be mentally well. If you're not mentally well, you're not going to take care of your body, and so you're not going to be physically well. It's a vicious cycle. And we focus a lot on mental health, as we should, but at least for me, it wasn't until I read that book, and that's where I learned
books
about.
are so helpful. I love spiritual books too. I was thinking about starting a book club one year. Even every episode we share a good book that we like reading. And what do you guys think about that? Book club, everybody could use a good book.
I was do that.
Me too.
Yeah.
That might be the new thing. I wanna build with this. I wanna grow with this. Like, all you guys listening, like, please ask any questions you have. I've shared my podcast Instagram. It's Kathleen_RoseXO on Instagram. Follow me on there. Ask any questions. If you have questions for my guest, you have questions for Chloe. Like, she's gonna be on a lot more episodes. Like, reach out to us. We're here to help. Any topics you want talked about, like, I could talk about anything. You know what I mean? Like, reach out. Like, the point of this, like, my supporters, like, this is for you guys. So, like, like, I want to do like an episode where I get a bunch of messages with questions, and you guys ask me certain questions or ask advice, and I respond. Like, that, the whole basis of this is just to start a network of just helping and building each other up. The world needs it. The world needs stuff like this. So.
Yeah, people need like a community.
Yeah.
Especially people, because it can be so lonely.
Definitely.
Going through that.
And I've been there.
Yeah.
I'm sure many people have, where you just feel so alone, especially when you're in those dark places and you just completely isolate because you don't want to burden anybody else with your problems, and you don't feel like you're going to be fine, or you don't want to be around people when you're feeling like that, and then you're just in your bed alone and you just feel so alone. And nobody should ever have to feel like that. So anybody that is feeling like that, know that you're not alone. There's other people there who've been through it, and reach out. That's what we're supposed to do. Reach out when you're feeling that way, and we'll tell you what we did when we experienced that, what we did to get through it.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, no one should be, thinking that they're the only one dealing with it, like feeling all alone. There is a community people to reach out to.
Exactly.
And it can be hard to do.
There's so much out there these days.
Exactly. But,
mental health hotlines, all of it,
Yeah. So, I lost my train of thought.
I'm sorry.
No, you're okay. You're okay. But I kind of like made my point that about, it's important to focus on breathing, because
I like that.
The long exhale. Really,
that's what you were talking
really
about, the
helps.
long exhale. Like, how much it helped you in.
Yeah, and it's something that like you learn to do like throughout the day. I'm like, and then I just calm. Like, I feel like my body's like deflating, and then I just calm right down, and then I'm in my environment. I'm in my life. I'm aware of my surroundings, and from there it's easier to use other coping skills. To help with whatever you're going through.
Coping skills are very important.
So I think it just helps if people know the physical aspects, because
it's important. Very
it's mental health. You can't really see it on, like, you can't test for it. But like physical, like, they're like concrete. Like, people who are experiencing things, like, I know there's a lot of people who experience autoimmune disorders that have histories of trauma. And I think it's important for like doctors to know, for doctors to be aware of the ACE score, like going back to that, because of the statistics about these scores and the health outcomes.
It's crazy you said that, because I'm obviously not going to say any names on here, but a close friend of mine has suffered some traumas and abuse and relationships and different things like that in the past many times, and a lot of things, and they were having some health issues, and just recently found out they had autoimmune disease. So it's just crazy that
I'm sorry to hear that. So I don't want, like I said, I don't want anyone to think that they're doomed, but to be aware of this helps so much, because like I said, for a long time, focusing only on the mental aspect, I still felt physically stuck. It wasn't until I learned about this, and then ashwagandha also helps significantly as well.
Take the tips, guys, you know.
Yeah, I mean,
These are-
obviously, like I said, not all supplement is created equally. Research before you take anything, but it's helped me. There's a lot of studies done. There's a lot of people who are saying it's helped them.
Yeah, I hear it a lot.
Yeah, because it's that cortisol. It's that fight or flight. Being stuck in that, you can't live your life. Like, you're in survival mode. It's harder to learn. It's harder to go on with your life.
Yeah.
To learn to have like relationships, to enjoy things. It's hard when you're just surviving. You're just getting through the day. Like, you're not living your life. And that was me for a really long time.
Yeah, me too. And it sucks being in that place.
Yeah.
You know?
And so
life's too short.
Exactly. So if you're in that place, I want you to know, like, it's not gonna last forever.
No.
There are things
will get
you
through it.
Exactly.
Ups and downs in life, you know?
Yeah.
It's all a part of it.
So that's all I have to say.
Yeah, I think we did great. We talked about a lot, and you guys definitely expect more episodes. This is my second episode I posted this week. There's going to be another one next week, maybe even sooner than that. Who knows? And like I said, I appreciate any feedback. I appreciate the listeners and supporters. Thank you guys so much. I'm so grateful to be at almost 1,000 views on my newest episode. That's super exciting because, like, it's only my 4th episode. And I'm just excited to build and grow this. And like I said, we're here. Please message with anything you guys need. And yeah, thank you.
All right, well, it was nice being on this podcast.
Yeah, Chloe, thank you so
Yeah,
much. And it was Chloe's idea for the topic we talked about, and I think it was such a great one because it really is important. And any young people listening out there, just take it from us,
Yeah.
because that's when a lot of things,
early
a lot of
adulthood
trials.
is when a
Yes,
lot
it's
of
hard.
health issues come up, and then you're
Yeah.
already dealing with the experience of
Exactly.
becoming an adult and all of the
Exactly.
increased
That was the hardest
responsibilities.
times, my 20s, definitely.
Yes. Yeah.
So please reach out because we've been through it all. You would not believe looking at us now, but we've been through some crazy things, crazy traumas,